What's happening? Let's loosen up here for a moment, folks.
I thought he was trying to give me a hug. I'm like, I'm all the way over here.
Cute. I'm stretching. Yeah.
Dang it, I got excited for no reason.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we started doing a little patio cover today and dropped off materials and zipped down here for a podcast and then pick up some more materials and back building here in a minute here, folks.
It's Friday.
Yeah. For all your building needs, Beery Construction.
That's right. So he's building a patio in Mardon.
Yeah.
And I can tell you what, man, I've seen Rick's work. It's actually pretty good. He does quality work for a quality price.
Only when it's raining. We're building a privacy wall and a little patio cover. So, for those that don't like their neighbors, privacy wall today special.
Also, too, today, please support our podcast. There's 2 ways right now, more to come. CashApp, it's a $ Rixican Show. PayPal, it's the @ Rixican Show. $5, $10, $1,000. If you're on Rumble, whatever, send $1, and show us that you care. Every little bit counts. Looks like I moved my camera. Send $1, send $5, send $20. Just put $. You know how it works with Cash App. You guys are smart. $ Rixican Show or @ Rixican Show. That's the way to support us on PayPal and Cash App. And then, what do you got today?
We have mac and cheese and brisket, bacon, and jalapeno today.
I'm gonna try the brisket. I was really sad that it wasn't ready when I got here.
Do the combo. The combo's been a hit.
How's the combo work?
Well, you just be like, I want it all. And it's the brisket, bacon, and jalapeno.
Oh, you just see me eat. I don't eat that much.
I will eat it all.
What are we talking about again?
Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can get it with brisket. You can get it with bacon, jalapeno. But last week, the brisket, bacon, jalapeno, the jalapeno adds like a nice flavor to it. I was really surprised. I was like, this is really good. So, then we have seafood.
Didn't you have lobster last time?
Yeah, we did lobster, but we only sold like 2. So we're like, scrap that. And now we have seafood chowder. So if you want lobster, it's in the seafood chowder.
And I had the seafood chowder. She was putting some finishing touches on. It tastes delicious.
It was good. I'm going to have some. And
does that come with the combo?
That would be separate. Seafood chowder, mac and cheese. But last week we sold out of mac and cheese at like 5:30, and a lot of people were disappointed. So we're making one extra batch. We did 2 batches. We're gonna do an extra batch and see if it gets us a little further. But it's amazed how many people like macaroni and cheese. There's like 4 cheeses. They're out there grading cheese right now. They're getting it ready. So pretty exciting stuff.
Once again, if you're on TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, I'm watching the comments, so feel free to comment. I see people jumping in on TikTok now. Also, you know how it works for PayPal and Cash App. It's the @ for PayPal and the $ for Cash App. Support the show. Just put $ Rixican Show, or on PayPal @ Rixican Show. That way we can buy cool equipment, do cool graphics, do on-site footage, all kinds of stuff. Help us grow.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into Canada for a moment, folks. I know there's a tariff war. I know there's stuff going on. We'll get into that later. But a couple things you might want to know about Canada. Canada's Department of Finance is located at 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C.
You've confirmed that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, let's do a little search here. I pre-did it for you. Articles of Confederation, 1777, 15th of November. You're going to scroll down to like the 11th item. They're like the Roman numerals. So it's an X and an I. And it says, right, this is the United States, Canada, according to this confederation, and joining in the measures of the United States, shall be admitted into and entitled to all advantages of this union. But no other colony shall be admitted into the same, unless such admissions be agreed to by 9 states.
Wait, what? I think I read that again, man. That was that real?
Yeah.
Where can we find this at? If someone wants to look it up themselves.
You can find it all over the place. All you got to do is Google Articles of Confederation, November 15th, 1777. Right?
Okay, articles.
Right? It's like the state of this confederacy shall be the United States of America. Number 2, each state shall remain its sovereign freedom and independence of every power jurisdiction.
Wait, slow down. Articles of Confederation. What? What am I googling?
Yeah, November
November
1777. 1777.
Got it.
And you'll zip down, you keep scrolling down. No state shall, without consent of the United States, that you keep going down till it says X1.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
So
it's on the National Archives page. So
it's paragraph 11, and it says Canada, according to this confederation and joining in the measures of the United States, shall be admitted into and entitled to all advantages of this union, but no other colony shall be admitted into the same unless such admission be agreed to by 9 states. I mean, this is back to 13 colonies.
And whereas it hath pleased the great governor of the world to incline the hearts of legislatures, respectively, who's the governor of the world they're talking about?
Probably the king.
Crazy.
At that time. Congress shall be assembled. Anyway, another little tidbit. And
so I'm going to put that. I'm going to actually put that in the description of the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in quotes.
What if I was wrong?
Well, I pulled it up. I pulled it up on the National Archives website.
The Canada Department of Finance, 1500 Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C. Interesting. Not everything is what you think it is, folks. Not everything is what you think it is.
And that's why the title of today's show is
what? The Matrix?
Reprogram the Matrix.
Reprogramming the Matrix. We are so we're silly little kids running around arguing about, oh no, they're a sovereign nation. This is sovereign. I don't even know what sovereign even means anymore. Because I was like, Canada's got their little constitution. What trumps it? What trumps the United States Constitution? I served in the military. I swore an oath. But then I got to back up to the Revolutionary War. And when we made a treaty with England, I had to you got to sit there and go, England was like, all right, we'll do a treaty. We'll let you be under our umbrella, but there's a couple things your rules can't have. You can't have a king. You have to have a lesser law, a lesser jurisdiction, a lesser authority. You have to have a president. You don't get an emperor. You don't get now we're taught that having a king would ruin the Constitution. And I guess it would, because we're not allowed to have one. But there's no reason why you can't have a king that's balanced power with Congress and balanced power with our.
So listen, folks. I not only pasted the link in the description, but also I took that specific quote from the National Archives page and I put it in quotation. So you can, if you scroll down in the description, you'll see it. And I couldn't believe it was actually on the National Archives website.
Canada and the United States, it's kind of been a dualistic deal. Remember, I mentioned that Mark Carney. This is backroom deal stuff. I can't prove this. This all comes from my
hearsay.
My source that's part of the elite world, right? So I can't prove it other than trust me, bro. But I was told that under the orders of the Crown, Mark Carney was sent to Canada to deal with this. So Justin Trudeau stepping down, it was a temporary step down for 90 days, right? Now we're in March, right? This happened back in January. Now we're in March. And for 90 days, Canada could make no laws. They were in probate, they were in dissolution. And now that we're in March, the 90 days are up. Justin Trudeau's back in power ish. What does Trump call him? Governor?
Yeah.
I don't know if these are play on words or what's going on here, but truly, I personally believe that we need Canada and Canada needs us for what's coming.
Well, his executive order today said that he stayed the tariff for both Canada and Mexico temporarily until April 2nd. So there's a reason he did that. So
Yeah.
he put a pause, a short pause, a very, very short pause to put on the tariff for Canada and for Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at the Trump thing. I'll get it though.
Yeah, I won't.
That's what they say.
We're going to see, major moves here March through the rest of the year until this all works out. Basically, I believe we're going to watch the puppets and actors. Look at these people's backgrounds. Zelensky from Ukraine was a comedian actor,
And a cross-dressing dancer.
whatever. And
You saw that video, right?
I've seen some weird stuff.
He was a cross-dressing dancer. Bounce chicka wow wow.
Bounce chicka wow wow. Trump was also an actor and had his show. Like
he was on WWE, WWF.
Ronald Reagan, this guy, that guy. We've had a lot of actors.
Well, that's what they call them in the news too. They call them all actors. So
yeah. Anyway, things that make you go,
And that's wasn't you were just listening a couple minutes ago with Elon Musk. What was he saying? You can't what's it say? You can't what inside the Matrix?
So
achieve greatness?
Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, right? They're doing their interview, and there's this Star Trek thing they call the Kabashi Maru.
Yeah.
Kabashi Maru, which basically means
they eat hot dogs.
You're eating hot dogs. It means that there's a no-win situation.
Yeah, you put a kibosh on it.
Yeah,
it's an East Coast thing.
You're stuck. You're in a no-win situation, and so Elon said the Matrix is set up for us to lose.
Yes,
you can't win it, and so he's like, what we're trying to do is reprogram the Matrix. If you change the rules, then we can win it. Then he can win it. Then Trump can win it. Hopefully that includes us. We won't know until the dust settles, but they're reprogramming the Matrix. Now, the Matrix is many levels deep. I've talked about this, comparing it to a chessboard. The chessboard, the Matrix, is the same it was back when the Knights Templar were robbing people for Peter's pence. It's the same structure. Just like today, we have 3 city-states. So on the chessboard, you have the king and queen, which should be, you and your spouse, or, you. Masculine, feminine, queen's feminine, king is masculine. They all got different rules on the board. And then, you've got your bishop, the Catholic Church, right? You've got your knight, which is the war machine, which is DC, which is the Fed, which is the money, the printing press, the dollar reserve currency. That is the knight. And then you have the castle, the land.
Yeah.
That's London. All allodial titles on the Western world, all of Canada, allodial titles is held in London. Just like you're like, how could I pay off my house and I still have to pay property taxes? They could take it from me. How is all this happening? Because you don't have the allodial title. You have a certificate of title. They charge you on your parcel number. It's a whole rabbit hole you can go down, folks, if you want to. But basically, they've set up a structure and they've given each of these uh, 3 city states, each people on the chessboard, these powers to control, rule. That's part of the matrix. And then it's go masculine, you got feminine, and then it's mirror imaged on the other side. And so um, you could say the United States has a chessboard, Russia has another chessboard, China has another chessboard. And now you're getting into a multi-dimensional chess things happening at the same time. Um, Folks, it, it it's tough to navigate and manage this because you're put in a position where you're like, I've got to work, pay bills, feed my family, pay my taxes, or they take something from me. I got to obey certain rules, or I go behind bars. I got to do this or that. Like you're squeezed from all sides.
Yeah.
It could be the foods you eat, and you could go down that rabbit hole and be like, oh, our foods, and whatever. It could be the media that you watch. Um, One thing that, and we could jump into this. One thing in the Matrix is, controlling people, and they developed it through different things and frequencies, and then they're like, well, what can we do it through color? And so this stuff I can't prove. Just trust me, bro. But one of the thoughts out there is computers, cell phones have a blue screen. The blue light frequency makes you receptive to whatever you want to call it, indoctrination, susceptible to influence, whatever. And you go, so consider that every time you're playing on your phone, every time you're watching TV, that um, it's influencing more than you think. Listen to the words of my voice. You are feeling sleepy.
I enjoy the words of your voice.
When I snap my fingers, you will be under my command. It's like, in a sense, we're being hypnotized to believe a narrative, to believe a system, to believe a structure, to believe a matrix. And we have very thick uh, lenses on, blinders on. You might as well go around the room and put on a set of, someone's prescription glasses on. you know, you'd be like, oh, they're messing with our food, right? You could put a set of prescription glasses on, and they're like, oh, they mess with us with the media, and put another set of prescription glasses over those ones, and they're like, oh, the education system. And you're like, and you'll have like these glasses on, and then you look through it, and everything is a mess.
Yeah.
That is where we're at in trying to navigate the matrix. Now, I try not to dwell on this too much because I'm like, hey, the matrix is what it is. How do you work with it? How do you take advantage of it? How do you maneuver with it? They got movies on it, to show you that, everything is coded, pre-designed, pre-whatever. And you can do it on an earthly level, you could do it on a spiritual level. Um, I think it's kind of funny that I hear a lot of people say, I'm awake. I've been awake for through it, and everything is a 7 years, 2 years, 1 year,
Yeah.
and that is where we're at. When I hear it, I keep thinking, how do you know that you're awake? Because you recognize certain aspects in life differently now. You recognized a conspiracy. Now you're awake because you don't trust the government. Now you're awake because, whatever it is, they're like, everybody thinks they're awake. Do it on an earthly level. You can do it on a spiritual level.
Oh, I hear something in the background.
Angels. I think it's kind of funny that I hear a lot of people say, and I think there's many layers to the awakening. But then I thought, at what point do you process through it? And it's like, then you have to start over and you begin a new process. It's like there'd be different levels of, you become self-aware, you become this, you become that. And at some point, as you crawl up this ladder to the top, you're like, hey, I made it. I'm awake. And then you realize there's 100 floors and you start over. And then you're like, okay, there's a new set of rules I got to work with and a new set of stuff. And it's like a never ending process. I consider that we as human beings are incapable of recognizing truth. An example of this would be President Trump.
Yeah.
You could look at him, I could look at him, your neighbor could look at him, and we can all point to the guy, and everyone's going to say something different. You know, one group's going to be like, that guy's a felon, whatever, da da da. And other groups like, he's saving the United States. And other groups like, I don't know what's going on. You got people like, I wish I didn't vote for him. Other people like, I should have voted for him. What they're doing is this. Like, we're all pointing at the same guy, and we have a variety of opinions and views
Yeah.
of the same guy. You know, you can do it with any
It's
person.
like a crime scene, right?
It kind
You got like
is.
7 different people that saw something different.
All these witnesses, and
The
you're
same
like,
thing happened.
like he saved America, and other people, no, he's ruining it. You point at him, and we can't dial it in perfect. But if I pointed to a chair with 4 legs, I hope everybody would be like, that's a chair.
Well, what it comes down to, though, is it comes down to the angle at which you look at it. Because what you might point as a chair with 4 legs, the way I'm standing, I only see 2 legs. I'm like, what the heck is this talking about? It's like a weird bicycle with no wheels.
That's my nightstand.
Yeah, so like that's what's happening probably with Donald Trump, and what's going on is because people have been raised in a certain environment where there's a lot more mudslinging, and like you always say, if we just stop and realize that we have more in common than we do different, then maybe you can start seeing the positive and actually work, because there's more of us than there are of them.
Yeah.
There's more of us than there are of them. And I've seen this country after 9/11. You saw it after 9/11. We worked more together than we had ever been as a country than I can remember in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's because people said, you know what? It's about all of us now. We just got attacked. We haven't been attacked before.
Yeah.
And so right now, instead of attacking each other, I think one thing that Rick, is really talking about is that, dude, change your perspective, change your angle. It is a chair. Just because you can't see that it's a chair doesn't mean it's not a chair. Try looking at a different perspective and maybe kind of grab a hold of what the person next to you is saying so that we can like stand together as a country. Did I miss that, or?
I mean, that sounds beautiful, Donnie.
Well, I know you like the sound of my voice, but like,
Yeah, I like the sound of your voice. Hit me, baby.
hold on, I got to mute the camera again. No, I'm not trying to sidetrack, but like you say it a lot.
So I do believe we have more in common than we're different. I have a hard time seeing how we come together, because when we look at something, and people think I'm a Trump lover, people think I'm like, why don't you love him enough? And I'm like, listen, many of my views, I'm just pointing out what I think is, or I'm going to different sources that point out things, and I ask questions, and sometimes that makes people frustrated.
Yeah.
With me. I mean, I've had people say, I just don't agree with Rick's politics. And I was like, I'm fairly neutral on most things. I'm just pointing out.
I just don't agree with Rick at all.
Yeah. They're like, I don't agree. I'm like, I agree. I'm just pointing out, like, this is what I think is in process of happening. It doesn't mean I agree with it.
Yeah.
Like, I believe we're going to see 100-year events happen probably this year.
Yeah.
At least in the next 4 years. But
speaking of 100-year events, if I may, real quick.
Yeah.
I was watching all the executive orders today, and I noticed that Trump had this look in his eye, and he said, when I saw that look, he said, if you're looking for affordable auto repair, call Brothers Automotive at 761-9744. I could see when I looked in his eye that Brothers Automotive would take care of you and give you a discounted price, cheaper than anywhere in town. Right now, they're working on an engine swap for a Chevy Impala. I've seen them do tranny swaps. I've seen them swap out his wiper motor, all kinds of stuff. And so when I looked at Donald Trump in the eye today when he signed the executive orders, I think he was saying call Brothers Automotive today for all your auto repair needs. 761-9744. Again, straight from the President of the United States. Call Brothers Automotive, 761-9744. The views expressed in that recent ad are from me and not from Donald Trump, nor are they endorsed by Donald Trump or anybody else. But call Brothers Automotive; they do great work. Illogic is watching this on TikTok. Thank you, Illogic. Tell people to share our Cash App. You can give $5. You can give $20. You can give $1,000. I'm sharing the Cash App today. Tomorrow I'll share the PayPal. Just keeping it simple. $ Rixican Show. Help us make this better.
You got me on that one. I was like, oh, he's going to do an ad. Wait, what? And then it went into an ad. I was like, well, double take.
Hey, Elijah, did you catch that? Tell me you caught that.
I was like, what? He's like, I got something to interrupt. And I was like, oh, he's going to a commercial. No, wait, he is. Yeah, I had to do a double take on that. Like, what's happening? What's happening? But yeah, we have much more in common than we are different. And I haven't quite figured out how to bring us together without a common enemy. I think because human nature, we rally behind a common alien enemy. I'm like, oh, we need an alien invasion, and then maybe we'll come together and put aside many of our petty differences. And what I mean by we all want the same thing, or we have more in common, we want affordable housing, we want good food, we want what's best for our children, we want, the freedom to make choices, even if others disagree with us, and be able to have conversation with respect and be like, oh, you like this? I don't like that. Well, let's agree to disagree and move on. Those seem like difficult things today. How do you do it? How do you do it without a common enemy?
Without an alien invasion, yeah.
Because when I'm looking at stuff, there's people like, that are so hateful towards Trump voters. They're like, I will never forgive them. And I was like, wow, what's it like to be in a spot, a position in life where you would language that into existence, that I will never forgive a person who voted that way? Like, and I'm like, that's interesting. I would not want to language that towards anyone. If you voted for Kamala, however you pronounce it, if you voted for Trump,
that one lady, that's what I call her.
The one lady, the orange man, whatever you want to call it.
The orange man.
I'm not gonna push you out of my life because you see a different perspective than I do.
Yeah. I probably push you out of my life if you don't see the perspective I do.
I think that we are peasants. We are slaves at the bottom of the system. Now you might argue, hey, there's different levels of slavery or peasantry in our system, but we are at the bottom, and we're fighting and arguing over silly things. They may be very important to you, but in the grand scheme of things, most of what we fight about is relatively silly.
Very silly.
And
let me say too, folks, send $1. Like, get on Cash App. Show me that you're paying attention to this. Go to $ Rixican Show. I'm watching it. We're at $20 so far today. So send $1 on Cash App. That's not going to hurt you. $, Rixican Show. RICKSICAN. I want to see your response. You can't send less than $1, unfortunately, with Cash App. So if that's all you want to send, we're happy with that. Should I put my face up when I do that so it's not some weird voice talking in the background? See
maybe
how I'm up there, and then now I'm talking, but you don't see my face. It's like you're conscious.
Yeah. So, we got Trump backpedaling on the tariff thing, up and down. It's a roller coaster, folks. We're like, it's actors. Now, none of our tariffs are more, in most cases, there are a few exceptions. None of our tariffs are more than what they tariff us.
Right.
The famous one they're throwing out there now is Canada tariffs the United States 170% for milk. It's like, no, it's 270% for milk, excuse me. And it's like 240% for butter and this and that, Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but the milk one is accurate. And they're like, we're going to do a 25% tariff. Now they may do the tariffs because they want to keep their dairy farmers in business where we might put them out of business. I get some of that. Um, but it's interesting because if milk costs $1.50 when the wholesaler buys it, you know, at 270% is like 405, if my math is right from yesterday, remembering. And then they got to put it on the shelf and go, man, we got to mark this up $6-8,
Yeah.
for the sale price. Anyway, the cars we trade with people, everything, maybe there's a softer way we can implement that, raise it 1% every month, or something until we match equal. But the other countries tariff us more
Yeah.
than I think is the point. And so they're like 25% is still less than what most of them are tariffing us. And so it's funny to see this battle continue.
How many people are in Canada? Like, do you know the population of Canada?
I don't know.
All right, I'll Google it.
I don't know. That's above my pay grade, folks.
You can't do that and talk, right?
No, no. I have, I have my deficits, and doing two things at once are not them.
Population in Canada is of 2025, 371 million. So they're about close with us.
Okay.
37.1 million. Never mind.
So China is threatening, or they already have, they want to ban the import of soybeans because of our tariffs. Half of our farmers that produce soybeans, I guess, go overseas. Possibly with China. I'd have to verify that exact number, but it says half of them go to China, 12.8 billion in trade. We have 98,000 soybean like farm businesses.
One thing he said last night when he was talking about the tariffs again is that we're going to see a little bit of pain at first because they're going to try and flex. But I've seen with Trump in his last administration, he's not one you want to flex with. Would you agree?
I think in the back room deals, Trump is softer when you're one on one with them. In public, he puts on the tough guy act more so. I think Trump's not afraid of a fight. He likes to argue and debate. Where other people might like to run their mouth, but Trump will take it a step further, which makes him a little more unpredictable or more of a concern when you poke that bear. Like, is he just going to eat the ice cream cone out of my hand, or is he just going to swoop and knock my head off? So, Trump's an interesting guy. That's for sure. Anyway, there was one person that commented that 87% of toilet paper for Canada comes from the United States. And they're like, yeah, ban that or tariff that, And I was like, oh, remember COVID and the TP wars? I was like, people go nuts. Like, toilet paper. Anyway, it's just, I try to take a step back and go, these are actors. These people are, there's a game being played and we're not privy to it. Like, I think we're taking Canada. Do I agree with it? Disagree with it? I don't know. I'm just looking at the
I just want to go to work.
leaves.
I want to eat. I want to turn my lights on.
We, the people, don't want war.
Yeah.
Governments do. Like, I'm like, well,
all war really is a distraction, honestly. If you think about it, because what you were in war, I was in war. What got accomplished when you were there? Did you see anything get accomplished? Someone changed power. That's it.
I don't know. I don't know if I saw anything get accomplished.
I was in during Desert Storm. When were you in?
I was in after the. I mean, I was in 2010 to.
Okay, so you were later.
2016.
I was in the mid '90s.
Yeah.
And
I
so you
was
were
there for
older
the
when you were
first
in.
part.
Okay, yeah.
I was like in a couple different.
But I didn't actually see warfare. I pissed off the wrong person I know this is going to sound like a surprise to someone, but my mouth got me in trouble. And I went into my billet officer's office because they had me stationed the USS Kiska out of Concord, California, boat. I slammed my fist down. I said, I have guaranteed overseas duties. I have guaranteed land base, and you put me on a boat, darn it. And he goes, oh, have a seat. Did I tell you the story? 3 hours later, he comes out and he goes, oh, you're still here? Man, it must have slipped my mind. I had your orders done like 5 minutes when you walked out of my office. Let me go get those for you. He came over, slapped them down in front of me, and I said, where's the ADAC? Have you heard of ADAC, Alaska? Yeah, here's how bad it is. I got hazardous duty pay, isolated duty pay, and a couple other weird duty pay. It's 1,500 miles away from Anchorage and 550 miles away from the former Soviet. Because I ran my 19-year-old mouth and said, I'm in charge.
I think there's still a 19-year-old behind your mouth.
No, I've learned a little tact over the years.
Oh, you're more tactful now? I don't believe it.
Oh, no, I'm very tactful. Logic, have my back, bro. You've seen me. I can say anything to anyone and get away with it.
It's true. He said some shocking things. I was like, you're going to get punched in the face. The other guy starts laughing. I was like, okay. I would get punched in the face.
Most people would.
Yeah.
But I've tact. It's all delivery. And that's what you're talking about with Trump, going back to what you're saying. You know, in front of the cameras, he's got to deliver it a certain way. And then back to what you're saying, the backroom deals, maybe he's just got to deliver it that way.
Yeah, he's a little softer on the backroom deals, I believe. And that again, that's based off my personality analysis of the individual. Yeah, Trump's a character. I'll give you that. Am I pro-Trump, anti-Trump? I'm just sitting there watching the tea leaves, and I go, you know what? I don't know the end result until the dust settles. And that makes it tough because there are some scary like possibilities happening. What I personally believe is happening is we are in a collapse, and they're going to sell it as a victory. And then we're going into a rebirth. There's a restructuring going on. That's my personal belief.
They're definitely working on, if you follow the money, you follow the movements of what's happening, you're watching, one thing you're seeing is a shift in assets, right?
I believe we're going to see more of it. I think you're seeing infrastructure being placed down.
That's why they're talking about Fort Knox. That's why they're talking about crypto reserve. That's why they're talking about mineral rights.
Yeah, the sovereign wealth fund, crypto reserve.
Yep.
Mineral rights.
There's going to be a shift in assets. We've been talking about it a long time. Some people have called it the Great Reset. Christians have called it the mark of the beast. I don't know, man. You know, could be end times, could not be. Those that are Christian, like myself, believe it looks like it. But also, there's a lot of people that just look for a devil behind every bush, and that's not me either.
You are the devil.
No, definitely not.
Behind the bush.
No. Where's my little pitchfork?
The holy water's burning me. I believe we're in a collapse. They're selling it as a victory. We'll restructure. We have a rebirth. I don't know what the baby's going to look like. It's a complex thing to restructure, like we're doing. Like one fumble, and it's going to hurt. You know, it's like, like any sports team. They're like, hey, we're going to do this new play, and you're like, okay, we need. You don't have the option of practice till you make it perfect. You're doing, you got to make sure people are catching the ball, to win the game. And so it's like, I wouldn't say it's necessarily new what we're doing, but things have to be done in steps and stages and processes and things. And in a collapse, in your own household, if you were in bankruptcy and you didn't want to tell the kids, I mean, is that? I mean, that's it right there. You're in bankruptcy. You're about to get divorced, whatever, and you haven't told the kids yet, and they're like, yeah, no more purchasing anything new. Stop all spending. It's about to get very expensive. We're going through a bankruptcy and a divorce. Cut all money we can here and there, because in a rebirth, it's complicated to have all this baggage in your caboose of all these benefits and plans, whatever. So I'm like, okay, they got to cut everything. Got it. I I predicted, I wouldn't say I'm a genius by predicting this by any means. Just looking at the tea leaves, I was like, we're going into a recession, depression, a collapse, um, beforehand. They just aren't going to tell you the numbers until after the election. Now, after the election, they're like, oh, the numbers aren't so good. And oh, look at this. Oh, you know, also remember Trump's got like 8 trillion in bonds to refinance. So there is a theory out there that if he, crushes the stock market and squeezes the dollar and does what he's doing, can he get lower interest rates down? Squeeze the Fed enough to get rates down so he can refinance his 8 trillion in bonds.
Yeah.
These are things we as a people don't pay any attention to.
The bond market is really foreign to most people. They don't understand how it works.
I don't either.
Your birth certificate is a bond. You know that, right?
Everything is a financial transaction.
Yeah.
Is what I believe. Now, whether it's a bond or this or that.
Social Security card, that's a bond.
A marriage bond.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
James Bond.
Birth, death, certain things you do in life.
We missed that hilarious thing I said when I said James Bond.
Death. Bond. James Bond.
Yes. You're doing good today, man. You're really killing it. You got a lot of energy. And if you notice, I got a lot more too since I got a whole new lease on life.
Yeah.
I'm not dying anymore.
Donnie's having a cancer-free party coming up on Monday.
Yeah, well, I'm not inviting the public.
You're all invited.
No.
It costs $5.
It's at Rick's.
Yeah, it would have been more successful if it was at Rick's, but
hey, my birthday party was a hit here.
Yeah, we had fun. But yeah, it's just and nobody knows what's going to happen. There's a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
I do, just because my secret society friend says, oh, North America will be on one currency. I kind of hold that as like a strong possibility, so I kind of preach that.
Oh yeah. I believe
to me that's amazing. I'm like, this is amazing to be able to pull something off like this. How would they do it?
It's a smart business move if you were somebody trying to,
right? So if you were trying to
unite, that's the word I was looking for.
If you were trying to unite all of North America, I was like, how would you do it? Right.
GDP.
Trump has only a handful of tools. Economic warfare, the guy seems to like.
Well, GDP is the most important thing first. You got to handle that. You got to make sure there's production.
See how?
And then you got to have trade between the continents.
Yeah, but from my perspective, I was like, if he does trade wars, tariffs, ruffles everybody's feathers, and everyone gets squeezed, the United States has the biggest advantage. Yeah, the people might go without, but we have the dollar.
Yeah.
All foreign settlements in the Western world settle with the Fed. The Bank of Canada settles with the Bank of London. The Bank of London settles with the Fed. Like, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know what that means. That means we have like the biggest advantage because we control all currencies.
Yep.
In some degree.
Yeah.
We can manipulate all of them. I'm not saying it's right. I think as the United States, we've been a bully. We've abused, we've taken advantage. I know this is my homeland and I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, my dad's a bully.
I had a bully in high school. His name was James Beeson. And I don't know if you know, he was like the biggest guy in school.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh man, if I hit you, you'd fall down." And I'm like, "Yeah, try me, right?" And he walks up and boom, as hard as he could in the shoulder, right? And I looked at him and went, and I walked outside of the gym and I'm like, "Oh my God." He had no idea. I turned around and looked at him and I said, "Do you own a business or accept credit cards?" Most companies can take 2 days or more for the funds to end up in your bank account. Many of them have extremely high rates and fees, especially with program cards and reward cards. But parallel economy gets you the money the very next day. Censor-resistant payment processing with no monthly surcharges. Plus, there's no contracts, 24/7 merchant support, and they'll match or beat your current rate. And they have rates as low as 1.49%. Switch to parallel economy today. Link in the description below. You saw an ad coming, didn't you?
No.
Oh, yes.
You've been pretty tricky today.
But seriously, he hit me in the arm and I kept my composure, right? And It hurt so bad. But I looked at him, I go, and all the kids went, oh, and I just walked out. My arm was numb for 2 days.
Yeah.
That guy hit me so hard, and with bullies, that's one thing that, like, Donald Trump sees a lot of bullies. And in order to get into that strong economic system that you feel like he's trying to build in North America, he's got to be able to not feel the pressure when they punch him in the arm, so to speak, like my example,
Yeah.
and be like, we don't need you. And that's kind of what he's doing, isn't he? We have Canada, we have Mexico, we're working together. You need us more than we need you.
Yeah. But for what's coming, we need each other.
Yeah.
We need to be bigger, stronger, better than ever. And if we united with Canada, united with Mexico, united with Greenland, together, that is a dynamite like team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
What's the old saying? Strength in numbers.
strength in numbers. Like, so by uniting under one currency or uniting together, the trade wars end.
Yeah.
The tariffs end. All this big dog and pony show you're watching will cease to end.
Well, that was the whole point of the USSR. They were trying to do what Trump's trying to do now. So what's to say that that's going to work when it didn't work back then with was it Vladimir? Not Vladimir Putin. What was his name back then? Gorbachev.
I'm not sure. I guess what I see is it's so hard to pin a country's success, a country's failure, a country's whatever. There's many who believe that capitalism has failed.
I would disagree.
There's many people that think that a mixed bag is best. We've been a mixed bag for a long time. We are socialists, we are capitalists, we are corporatists, and we have government, right? Like, and all these have to be in balance.
Yeah.
If you don't think you're socialist, I mean, like, does your kid go to public education? That's socialist.
What's up, Texas Pride? Thanks for joining. Eric Johnson.
Socialist.
Thanks for joining.
So we live in this hybrid, but for some reason we don't like to see it that way. We're
like, logic, good to see you.
We think we're free. We think we got all these benefits. It's hard for us to even picture that we live in a classed society. If you want to purchase something, do you have to get a credit check?
Yes.
And if your credit's not so good, you're like, I don't think your insurance company raises your rates if your credit's bad.
Yep.
Like, we live in a class society.
Yep.
And I know this is going to offend some people, but it's more class than China.
Wait, we're still on TikTok.
Yeah. Like we think China is like, oh, they've got cameras and they watch and this and that. And you can't take a train if your social score's not right. And they're like, and when you go to China, they're like, what are you talking about? That's all propaganda. You're like, oh, I've been to China, folks. My sister lived in China for 15 years. And imagine a bunch of redheaded kids running around in China.
I won't do it.
It's awesome. The people used to touch their hair. They're like, because it's different.
I won't do it.
You won't do it? But, every country has its good and bad, I guess, is the whole point to it. But there's some people that believe that our system isn't for the greatest good. And there's other people that say, hey, this is the best country on earth. You don't like it, go somewhere else. Like, I get it. I've been to Costa Rica, and that's a nice place there, right? They depend on the U.S. for, security and all this other stuff. But the people are happier than they are here. And I was like, man, what's the price on happiness? I have more stuff than they do. But overall, they are a happier people. I go, what's the price on happiness? So every country has its pro and con, I guess is my point. And that's I think having spent 3 years overseas, sometimes I see things a little bit differently. Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. It's just a different perspective that I'm like, interesting. And then, you're here and people are like, if you don't like it, leave. And I go, man, I'd be happy to go back to Costa Rica.
Yep.
It's like, they have fruit there that cures certain ailments. I don't know. You can't say this.
Ailments.
You know, you
How
can't.
can you not say that word?
Well, you're not supposed to say cancer because it's like copyrighted, whatever.
Oh, you just said it.
Get you. Oh, we kicked off TikTok.
And speak of which, if you're on TikTok, share the live, and also, I want to see who's giving. We got $20 so far today. Dollar sign Rixican Show.
Yeah.
Um,
So
on Cash App.
in Costa Rica, they have a fruit there. In English, it's called soursop.
I use soursop. It helped me with cancer.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
there we go. Donnie's cured because of soursop.
yeah. I have 2 bottles at my house.
Yeah. In Costa Rica, they called it guanabana.
Guanabana.
Guanabana. Pop. Guanabana.
Different song.
Oh, my bad. So they have guanabana,
Oh,
and it's somewhat banned in the United States.
Sesame Street.
So where do you get your soursop from?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the Mexican markets, you'll find a guanabana drink and it has little
Soursop.
chunks of soursop in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste the same though. It's been processed.
It's become pretty popular. Soursop has since the cancer research has increased over the
But it
past couple years.
tastes like a smoothie to me. We
Yeah.
called it fresca celestial when we were there. The like nectar of the gods.
You were there in the military though, right?
No,
Oh,
I was not there in the military.
mission trip.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we called it nectar of the gods, and it was so good. Um, it's not the most beautiful fruit to look at, but it tastes so good.
That's okay. Yeah, you still say I'm the most beautiful fruit to look at.
You are. It's like a giant avocado looking thing, and you open it up, and there's these big black seeds in it, and there's a white flesh.
You had me at big black seeds.
Yes, but it's so good. It tastes like a tropical smoothie. Anyway, it's kind of a precious fruit, a rare fruit. It's not like grown everywhere. Um, they also have this fruit they call granadilla, which is grenade fruit.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And it's like this ball. You pull the handle off. It has a bunch of little slimy seeds in it, and you suck down these slimy seeds out of this thing. But it's fun. It's fun to try new fruits.
Oh yeah.
They have mamonchinos, which looks like a red hairy testicle.
I've never seen a red hairy testicle. So I'll take your word for
and
it.
you twist it, and you got to be careful because when you twist it, this fruit will slip out and like fly across the room.
Oh wow!
Because it's like slimy. You're like, it's not slimy, but it's the way the fruit's encased. So
it squeezes quick.
You're putting pressure on it to get it to like crack the outer. It's not a shell.
Sounds fun to watch.
Anyway,
so it's like a yolk almost.
It can jump on you, but then there's it's like this little piece of fruit wrapped around a seed.
Yeah.
And they had it canned at the Super China buffet in town. They had it there. That they de-seeded it. And I was like, no way, they got mamonchinos here. But it has a different name in English. I don't know what it is in English.
This is a very weird tangent.
It's food. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're hungry.
So it's just anyway. The point is they have fruits and things and foods there that
I keep thinking about that
aren't as available here.
What is it? Brisket.
Brisket.
I'm gonna get that. I keep wanting
bacon jalapeno or the combo.
I keep wanting to leave the room and go get it and come back, but I don't want to disrupt your show.
Well, we could wrap stuff up with mac and cheese. Poor cheeses. They've been grating for hours.
They literally grate their own cheese for it. I watched it.
Yeah. I would say homemade, but last time we marketed something. This is funny. We made some like little desserts, and my staff wrote homemade, and then someone complained to the health department
because they were making it at home.
Yeah, because you can't make stuff at home. And I was like, no, we make them here at Rick's. It's just a box of cake mix and whatever, like. And they're like, could you put the ingredients on? I'm like, oh my gosh, when have I ever had to put the ingredients out there for anything? So I was like, I'll just ignore you guys. But because someone complained, they have to follow up with every complaint.
Yeah.
I was like, what, do you want me to put ingredients for my omelets that we used to make? Or
piss me off. Watch what happens.
Yeah.
FAFO, Rick.
Yeah. So it's super it's just a funny world we live in where
man,
you got to please everybody.
Karens.
But every once in a while we'll have little desserts and things and I let the cooks have a lot of freedom at Rick's.
He does.
And if they want to experiment, like I feel like cakes and desserts, I'm like, hey, go make some, like whatever.
Heck yeah.
Have a good time, So I try to treat my staff. I mean, it's a restaurant. It's a bar. It's work. It's a grind.
Yep.
they're working for tips, whatever. And I was like, I get it. And if I could just add a little bit of family element to it, make you feel like this is your second home, the best I can
By saying homemade.
by saying homemade, and at least you'll be happy coming to work.
Yeah.
If you need vacation time or see family time, we try to accommodate all of that because like it's a job. Your family's important. Now, if it frustrates my schedule, you'll see an eye roll. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're
You're
killing
telling me that do you have to be off tomorrow and you've known for 2 months?
me. Whatever. Usually, it could be an emergency. We try to accommodate it because I mean, your family and your life is important. You got to take care
Yeah.
of you.
You see your people at work more often than you see at home, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, I get it. Work, it's a grind. It's not a glamorous job, but it's like if you can just give a little bit of something, hey, um, if we can provide that, that's great.
I'm gonna get some brisket mac and cheese, that's for sure.
Brisket, mac and cheese, they're grating, cheddar, mozzarella.
$12.99, right? Isn't that $12.99?
For the mac and cheese,
14.99
for
the
the mac and
brisket.
cheese by itself is $9.99.
The brisket was
The
14.99.
bacon jalapeno
12,
is like $12.99. The brisket
14.
is $14.99, and the combo's like $16.99.
I don't get it. What's the combo again? All three?
All three:
Oh,
brisket, bacon, jalapenos.
we need to make an ad.
This time it's personal.
Dun, dun, dun.
I always say that because I have sometimes he listens to the show. I have a friend that's been a celebrity bodyguard, and he's been on the show a few times, and he's made movies. He worked on the first part of the Twilight and different stuff, and
Yeah.
he used to always say, some quote and be like, "This time it's personal." So I just mimic that now.
So
I
hopefully
think
he
it's
heard
cool.
it.
So Eric, this time it's personal.
Love you, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, his hands are like weapons.
And this time they're personal
Now,
weapons.
if my friend Eric punched you in the arm, you would probably need to go to the
So
hospital.
I'd probably still do that, but I would probably be 3 days maybe.
So he's the one we told the story where he was kicking a guy
Yeah.
and he broke his femur.
Yeah.
So
I had my femurs removed.
oh yeah, so you have a metal bar, so
Yeah.
your leg would be bent.
It would be bad. Yeah.
I'm bent, not broken. Be bent. But yeah, Eric's a beast. I did a little bit of basic training, and he'll make you squeal for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, he's not one you want to get hit by. That's for sure. Man, some of these guys that train, getting hit by them is ouch. Yeah.
Bruce Lee.
I remember I called them grinders. I came up with they're punching drills.
Yeah.
In the military, we had our little team, our GSAR team, and there's like the 15 of us hot shots. And I'd show up early and then I'd design the fitness for the day. And because I got there first and whatever I wrote on the board, we're like, okay, let's do it. So that was me taking initiative. And it was, you know, it's almost like MMA training for your cardio. It'd be like 10 burpees. You'd run across the mats. You'd throw a set of 10 punches. You do 10 push-ups. You run it back. 10 burpees, and it'd be like a 3-minute run time.
Oh.
And we'd hold pads while the guys would throw their punches and do their routine. And so every 3 minutes, while you rested, you'd hold the pads for the guy. And there was one cat. Captain Wood at the time. Now he's Major Wood. uh, but the guy, he was an athlete. He knew how to, use his body. But man, I could feel my hand sting when he threw those punches. You're sitting there and he'd be hitting them like bam, bam. I was like, man, when I throw my punches, does it sting? I don't know, but like I could feel it when he snapped. You felt it.
What he's trying to say is $16.99 gets you the combo, and this time it's personal.
And you feel the snap.
That's right.
Snap. You feel that sting. But
I can't wait to eat it.
Anyway, we had the sergeant major come join us one day, and oh, what are you guys doing? Because we weren't doing traditional stuff. He's like, what are you doing? We're like, okay, and I did the plan. I didn't know he was showing up, and he showed up. I'm gonna do PT with you guys, and in 6 minutes, sergeant major's on his knees. And I laughed. I was like, I got my sergeant major on his knees. That That doesn't happen very often because they're usually doing paperwork or whatever. They talk about the good old days, how bad they were, and all the cool stuff they did, and we broke them. And another guy, he he went through selections, and he came back to us, and he's like, "Oh, you guys do cool stuff," and we're like, "Yeah, come join us." And so he joined us, and we were breaking him off, and I was like, "Man, you were in like selections for special forces. Why are we breaking you off?" Like. And he's like, "This is tough. This is tough." And several of the guys who we trained with went on to special forces, which was kind of cool. A couple of them did. I dropped an application, but I broke my back, so they didn't want me anymore. But it was cool. Like we were doing cool stuff. It was one of the highlights of my military time was training with these guys. A lot of times in life, you go to work and you don't get to pick your team. Or the team that's picked is kind of like random, just whatever society throws at you. But this team we had were like the best of 1,000 people. It's like we were the cream of the crop. And so when we trained with infantry or this team or that team, we smoked them because our weak link was amazing. The weakest link was amazing. And so like we could smoke them. We even had uh, a lady with us that was on our team that she did it, and we're rucking with the infantry, and we beat the infantry on this ruck march, and they were so mad because we had a woman on our team, and we still beat them. And but she was awesome. She was a stud. So like it was pretty cool to do that because infantry doesn't have women. They would see them as that, but but they had the infantry guys. They had to stick together, and if they had a guy that was a weak link in their group, it drug the whole thing back. And so it's kind of funny that we got to beat them. But those were good memories, the GSARC days. Uh, anyway, mac and cheese at Rick's. I know I got sidetracked.
What? You've never done that.
I'm so ADD, guys. I hope you can
I'll just let you
deal
talk.
with it.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm hungry though.
All right. We'll wrap this up. A quick review. Department of Canada Finance is located in DC. Articles of Confederation, Section 11.
Link is on the description.
Links in the description. Canada is a part of the United States.
Also, Cash App and PayPal given is in the description as well too.
Another thing to think about is if Canada, with all the stuff Trump's saying about Canada being the 51st state, if it was such an issue, where's the royal family? Why aren't they saying anything? Why aren't they saying anything? Because Canada's Commonwealth of England, or was, or they would have more say than we would. But the deal's been done. The deal's been struck behind closed doors, and they're like, let's send Mark Carney over there to oversee it. And the goal is to unite North America. I believe that's the big conspiracy. We'll see what happens when the dust settles. And you're in a matrix change right now. Hopefully, when the dust settles, we're better off for it. But like I said, I don't know until the dust settles. I'm not taking sides. I'm just watching. Go, how do I navigate this without getting beat on too much? Because there's going to be, I think, some tough times as we go through this process. Whether you like Trump or dislike Trump, there's going to be tough times.
Yeah.
Through this process, and I'm just like, okay, that's what is. The guy's already in office. He's already doing his thing. You could jump up and down about it. But if it's what the elite plan is, it's gonna be very difficult to stop. I guess is my point. We are at the bottom of the system, and we need to come together. We'll manage this much better if we come together. So that's my thoughts for today, folks.
Thanks for joining. Make sure to give.
This is Rick, your host for the Rick Show, signing out.